Inherent in all creativity is the element of surprise. For a joke to make you belly laugh, you need to be caught off guard by the punchline. For a painting to stop you in your tracks, there needs to be something there that you didn't expect to see, something that grabs you and is unexpected. That's why for me as a heart-led painter, spontaneity is very important. If my thinking brain is allowed to take over in my paintings, I usually will default to predictable, to the expected right thing to do in my painting. I like to invite spontaneity into my work in a very simple way, and that's by making mistakes. When you make a mistake, you're doing something different than you had originally intended. And if instead of trying to backtrack and erase that mistake, you allow it to transform your work, to allow you to pivot and adapt, your work becomes a little more unpredictable, a little more spontaneous, and more creative as a result. We're going to work with a mistake today. We're going to let the brush take over for a moment and then adapt and play to bring spontaneity into our painting practice. When I do this as part of my painting warm-up, it strengthens my ability to improvise and adapt on the fly in all of my painting practice. And that's really powerful for helping me to trust myself and become a stronger artist. That a mistake doesn't have to feel like failure. It doesn't have to derail my painting. It can become something really special and exciting in my work. Before we get started with today's lesson, I want to show you a few paintings that started out as mistakes and turned into something really special, something better than I could have done with my intentional brain. Let's take a look. I will always seek to be spontaneous in my paintings, so how do we translate that into a painting exercise that's going to help me be a better painter? And I think one way that spontaneity happens is sometimes we're kind of pushed into it. So let's push ourselves a little bit into some spontaneity with a little bit of palette dirt. And actually today for palette dirt, I'm going to actually use, it's almost actual dirt. This is graphite, powdered graphite, and I bought a jar of it. And I don't really know what the traditional purpose is, but I've been using it to paint with, basically as a paint. You know, it's a lot like a liquid pencil, really. If I want to really be spontaneous, let's just have an accident. Let's drop the brush. Let's splatter a little bit of that graphite onto the paper. I completely missed in one spot I can't throw. And let's see where we can go with a few spontaneous accidental marks. And you know, this happens to us all the time. We drop our brush exactly the wrong moment. We spill some paint. We get our paper dirty before we even start painting. But these early marks, when you make those mistakes, sometimes they can really be pivotal for creating a beautiful outcome in your painting. And when I have an accident, let's see if we can't be good watercolorists and see if we can't make it into a happy accident. So I'm going to just get some of that graphite kind of dominating the paper here with the side of my brush, with these lovely comb marks that this brush makes. And then we're going to get some of that color moving with a little bit of water. I'm going to turn the paper again. Part of being spontaneous is learning to see possibilities. Isn't that what spontaneity is? You see a possibility and you pursue it. Spontaneous parties, spontaneous trips, all involve seeing a possibility and moving in that new direction. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity in watercolor to take mistakes and make them into something that maybe is almost better or different or more exciting than you could have imagined on your own. And you can see just with the powdered graphite by itself, and if you don't have powdered graphite, neutral tint is a wonderful neutral color. Indigo makes some really beautiful value transitions, you know, you can choose any dark color and put that first mark down. And I've learned that when I use those mistakes, those marks that were unplanned, if I learn to see new possibilities in them, it can create some real excitement in my paintings. While this is all wet, I want to start introducing a new color. And I think for this one, I feel like it needs to be something warm. I'm going to choose Venetian red. The Venetian red is a fairly opaque color. Goes down really like a terracotta, but it also dilutes to a beautiful peach. So we're going to bring that into our scene here. And I haven't seen anything here. I'm really not trying to force this to conform to any one idea. Although I'm kind of thinking it's going to end up being something kind of landscape-esque. So we'll put some, and when I'm painting landscapes, I'm usually working in horizontals. So we're going to put some horizontal line in here. I think what spontaneity says is that there's a place for a plan, but there's also a wonderful sense of vision in seeing past your plan, seeing that there's more than just sticking to a script. And we can, if you're in a place where you're really desiring to control watercolor, we can actually really find ourselves fighting to control it. And I would rather learn how to pivot when I make a mistake, because I always do. You know, that big dark mark goes on the paper and it feels like a disaster. And sometimes, you know, erasing it might be an option, but I've found there's really some really beautiful alternatives in taking that mark and going, how can I do more of that so it looks intentional? How can I take that thing that I hadn't planned and make it look like I did plan it, make it an integral part of the painting? And I've really loved seeing how that brings me into collaboration with watercolor rather than trying to bend it to my will. It really makes my paintings come alive. I really like the comb marks that are in that area from this brush. So I'm going to see if I can't do more of them. I'm drying the brush, so there's very little water in it. There we go. A few little marks. And I like those marks. I don't know what they signify in this particular painting. Maybe rain, maybe wind, maybe they're symbolic, but I don't have to know what they are in order to enjoy them. I want to introduce another color. I'm thinking maybe a blue. Let's make it a lavender. This is adding another facet to my graphite. I'm going to put some line in. Talking about symbolizing wind, and I just feel like I want to. And let's do another bold slash of lavender over here. I like spatter, so I'm going to throw a little bit down. With the graphite, I get a lot of texture. And the colors I've chosen actually really help with that sense too. I think I'm going to add just another splash of the Venetian red because it does dry lighter than it goes down. I find I often need to add a second go in with the Venetian red if I want to have it in full saturation, if I want to see that richness of the color as it goes on in that first stroke. And so I'm probably overdoing it now. It's always a little bit shocking when you put it down, but it usually lightens, so I'm going to trust the Venetian red to do what it's supposed to do. It's not too late to try to do some accidental, spontaneous things. Just the grains in there are interesting and pretty. I'm going to tilt this way. I want this kind of line to come across.
And I might as well use gravity to get me there. You know, there's a bit of a risk with spontaneity and deviating from that original plan. And I think it's a good thing. I don't have to fear the unexpected. I can trust my inner artist that I can see possibilities and create beauty with these split decisions. And if you're an artist who likes to plan, it can be really confidence building to see that in an unplanned painting, you can still make beautiful things happen. Even if it's just one brush stroke over in the corner. You know, I'm thinking it's almost time to stop here. I'm just going to close some of these open spaces in this area. I feel like I need to. And you can see that Venetian red is already fading a bit there. And I think let's add one more splash of lavender spatter or line. I'm going to try the line with the lavender. So in this exploration, I've really, had the opportunity to see how these three colors interplay with each other. I've had the opportunity to create with some line and work with shape in an abstract way, which really strengthens my ability to see in the abstract, to see the strengths in the underlying composition, even when I'm painting representational subjects. And it's given me a new approach to mistakes. So often mistakes are something we seek to erase, to hide, to conceal. And when you make a mistake and you run with it, you give yourself permission to let that mistake lead you in a completely new direction. It's really pretty fun to see what you end up with and let it drive your creativity. Look at that lavender. I've gotten sidetracked and it's just so much fun. I need to start buying 4 or 5 tubes of lavender at a time. I have so much fun with this color.
If there's one thing that I'd like you to take away from this video, it's that a mistake does not have to feel like failure. Use your mistakes to help you learn. If you're going to make a mistake, it might as well have a purpose. And those purposes can be for making better decisions, for learning how to adapt and pivot and make changes and trust your instincts. All of those things are important as you learn to express your own personal style. And so often our mistakes end up defining who we are. If you've painted along with this lesson today, I'd love to see your work. Post it online on social media with the hashtag World Watercolor Month and Angela Fair Tutorials. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. I frequently share encouragement to help you not give up and grow your skills in your watercolor journey, and techniques and tips to help you paint more powerfully, to grow your skills in watercolor so that you can better express yourself and become your own favorite artist.